Millennials, just when you thought you would dip your toe back into the waters of the Chicago real estate market, lower inflation, mortgage rates following lockstep, and the upcoming seasonality of the spring market may have those toes coming right out of the water. Same great content, new look. What do you think, huh? For everyone outside of my 329 subscribers, I am Anant Deoras, AD and EXP Realtor, and through my channel, The Chicago Life, I talk about the neighborhoods, how it's actually like to live in the neighborhoods, and like today's topic, real estate. If you look at the metrics just on a face value, you would think that we're in a downward trend market. You see here pendings, which are the under contract, that's when the seller and the buyers come to terms. Those technically from the January data are down. New listings, and I'm gonna talk about inventory in a second, folks, but new listings, as you see here, down. And then as a result, the month's supply, meaning if at the current trends, basically there would be 2.8 months left of supply, right? And that's what it's saying. In a normal market, you have anywhere from 5 to 6. Actually, in actuality, right? So me as a professional realtor, I'm on those front lines. And you also got to understand here, Chicago, like other big cities, local. So you have to go into the neighborhood. So if you see here, Lakeview area, which happens to be one of the areas that I serve, 8 days under contract, 14 days under contract. Everything under 15 days, things are moving. Now, of course, not every property is gonna move, folks. You may have a tenant in place, so it may take a little bit longer to get enough showings. Everything kind of is property specific, but on the all in all, right now in February, things are moving at a rapid pace. So what can you do to really compete in this market? Before we go into that, I also wanna tell you is actually multiple offers are also coming. I had my clients actually bid on this particular property, 935 Fry. We had to submit a backup offer. I reached out to this listing agent a couple of hours after the open house, and the seller already accepted. The hope was, of course, they would go to a best and final, right? To get more people to bid on the property. But the sellers loved initial offer and they took it. So I had to submit a backup offer. I felt very bad for my buyers. But this is what's happening now. And here in Chicago, in the quote unquote bad weather, look at this property on Fry, gorgeous multi-level townhome. So not only do we have an inventory crunch, folks, we have inventory, a lack of quality inventory, and anything of quality, like for example, this Fry property, you're seeing the gorgeous photos here. There's even more buyers going for there. So there's inventory out there, but that's kind of going to lead into me, that's that flexibility you need to have. If you want to be in this market, you got to have some flexibility. It doesn't mean that you should settle. Never settle, I'm never going to say that, but think about some other neighborhoods, right? Maybe if you want to have that yard, why don't you go think about on the northwest side, think about Jefferson Park, think about Old Irving Park, Independence Park. They're just enclaves. If you don't need the transportation, and transportation is very heavy. A lot of my buyers right now, they need to be by one of the lines, the blue line, the green line, the pink line, etc. So of course, values around there, regardless of seasonality or just the market, is always gonna be in demand. So if you have that flexibility, that's gonna be key. Another thing to do is something called a 2-in-1 buy down. In its simplest terms, a 2-in-1 buy down, basically 2 interest rate points below the current market rate. So your interest rate go down 2 in the first year and 1% in the second year. And how that's done is, in essence, we're asking for concessions because someone's got to pay for that reduction. And it doesn't really make sense for you as a buyer to also pay on top. You're basically netting out any type of mortgage payment reduction by you paying it. So the thing is, if you can find a property that's been sitting on the market a little bit longer that you guys like, again, never settle, we can have the seller pay those points down. And it's a credit, usually up to about $10,000. Your lender will calculate it, and I'll be happy to refer you to a lender. But that's one way to reduce your overall monthly, because those home prices, unless something catastrophic happens, those home prices are still staying high. As I've mentioned, a 2-in-1 buy down as an option, right? But now what if you're in a situation where the seller is not willing to concede, not to give you any type of credits, and you're gonna have to be going forward with a higher price? So the key is speed. You need to have a professional realtor. I said myself, I'm not trying to brag, but I am a professional realtor that services my clients, their needs, or hopefully your needs as a viewer, hopefully going to be a first-time buyer, or maybe you're a first-time seller, or in particular first-time buyer. Your needs are my needs. So we need to get speed to the showing. as quick as possible. That means you've got to be upfront, communicate what your price range is, and actually go a little bit higher on the price range. Doesn't mean you have to pay for it, just so you can see the property. You have enough time to see the property. And yes, for those quality properties, I fully anticipate, you might want to pause it right here, fully anticipate multiple offers coming in. I'm not saying at the point that we have to waive contingencies. If you have questions about that, comment below. I'm happy to explain. We are going to be seeing, as we enter now here in February, post Super Bowl, the quote unquote spring market. For a millennial that is concerned again about this affordability of buying a home in Chicago, and you're living in your parents' basement, you may not want to, you may have pride, but it may make sense for you to ask for help with the down payment. Ask for some gift funds. If you're fortunate, you're in that privileged position, or your parents have the money. Listen, I'll be perfectly honest. For my first home, some 20 plus years ago, I got help. I was fortunate to have my parents help me, and that helped me greatly. So let's get you in the market. If they have that means, let's build that equity instead of paying someone else's mortgage. I don't know why you're doing that. If you're a millennial and you have parents have the means, ask them and make it a loan, and you can pay them back over the first 4 or 5 years. But ask for that help, ask for that gift funds. That can put you in a competitive position with other buyers. Millennials, are you screwed? I know, a little hyperbole, but you may be. You may just not want to be in this market, but I want to prepare you. Things are really looking up and up. Now, of course, inflation is that elephant in the room, and if Powell and his folks think that inflation isn't in check quick enough, there may be increase of interest rates, and we may be going back and reverting back to what's happening in November, December. But at this point, all signs, even with an uptick, we're talking about it's got to escalate above 7%. But even with a slight uptick just recently of interest rates, they've gone down, they've gone up. Everything is pointing to a very, very strong spring market. And if you're looking to buy in this market, please reach out to me, comment below. Any questions at all, happy to help. I'm Anant Deoras with eXp Realty, serving first-time buyers and sellers through my YouTube channel, The Chicago Life. Now, watch some videos. Don't leave yet. Watch some of these videos and comment below if you have any questions.